Hi and hello and welcome to episode 36 of Going Over. I, of course, am Fred Slow alongside me, Saleh Taylor, and I am enjoying being across from you at a table because that way you can't touch me.
This feels right though, but at the same time, too far. It feels too far.
No, I do not care for that opinion. Thanks for joining us on the live stream. If you're joining us on the live stream, and thanks for joining us terrestrially. If you're joining us on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animals. We are recording on Wednesday the 5th and airing on Saturday the 8th, 9 a.m. So if you're out yard sailing, you're listening to your boys. Also, swing by my yard sale, the intersection of University and Silver. We're doing a block yard sale. It is too much fun. I'm going to rock, paper, scissors everyone, Saleh, for deals.
This feels right, actually. I kind of just want to come to rock, paper, scissors you. And I just want to see where that goes. But if you want to come and say hi to Fred and give him a full eye contact hug this Saturday, yard sale.
I do not like being touched by others. If you're part of the live stream, thank you for being part of the live stream. Obviously, we field your questions all day long. You know, Saleh, that I'm in the middle. We got the radio show every day. Great. Yep. You are bringing in a Comic-Con right now. Great.
Hey.
You got the World of Acting right now. Great. You got all your music gigs. Great. You know, there's a million shows coming to town. There is like 30 days a month that's not a pro wrestling show. Like, it is wild to me how it never stops to allow you to have like other aspects of life. And, you know, and I say this every time for all the friends of the show that might not know, I am in the ownership group of Duke City Championship Wrestling. And when we talk about the world of pro wrestling, keep in mind, if you support that in any way, including watch DCCW.com, DCCWtickets.com, shop DCCW.com, any of those, that is putting money into daddy's pockets. So just keep that very much in mind.
One of the coolest things that I am grateful for, it feels busy again. I just noticed right now as you were talking.
Yeah.
Since November, I've only had 2 full weekends off.
For what?
From just to do nothing.
And one of them was Christmas.
I think so, yeah. And the other one was when we spent that haunted weekend in Chicago.
That was weird. Survivor Series.
That was
I just did my SummerSlam credentials yesterday, 2 days ago. So that's approved. So going to Cleveland for that, that's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot going on in the world professionally right now. You know, I just got the invite to the Mr. Irrelevant celebration. So that's going on.
Wow, man.
Yeah, so that's on the up and coming, the Major League Baseball All-Star game. And again, the world of pro wrestling keeps chugging along. June the 28th, Summer Sizzle at the historic El Rey Theater. We got a big meeting next week for our big event up at the Folk Art Museum in Santa Fe, the International Folk Art Museum.
What?
There's a ton going on with that. And then, you know, no spoilers or anything, but, you know, we've been working a really fun TV opportunity as well. So there's just like a world around it. And I think it's to the point, at least for me professionally, Saleh, where if you're a part of the world of pro wrestling and you want to be a contributor, right? You want to be behind the scenes. You want to perform in the ring. You want to be a whatever. I'll give you Tristan Rogers, for example, friend of ours in town. He calls me the other day, and Tristan, who is the head chef at Hotel Andalus, and it's the coolest, oldest hotel in town. It was part of the original Route 66. Like, he says, hey, I want to contribute, and here's a bunch of different ways I want to do it. You know, and if you don't have that type of energy in this world, I think I see easily how this world really moves through those that harm it. You know, and because we were talking about on 2 Men On earlier today, because you came on my show, how the industry has not lost a beat and maybe has gained more momentum since Vince McMahon has left it.
Yeah.
And whenever you don't have deficits towards your success, how fortunate the world of entertainment is to be able to continue to entertain without those. Because this all come from like a shoot interview with Randy Orton, where he was saying, thank you for all the opportunities originally. My life is better now that Vince McMahon is not in it.
That interview is actually making the waves right now. For those who haven't seen it, he just a little paraphrasing on that.
Yeah.
But there's a moment when Randy Orton was talking about his perception of Vince McMahon changed drastically when he was 35, talking about his back pains were really starting up and flaming up, saying, hey man, I'm gonna need to slow down the schedule, or if you can. But Vince McMahon talking about no man, the show needs you. And the quote was, Mother Nature will get us eventually.
Yeah.
That's
unfortunate.
That's a heavy thing to say.
Yeah, because we're transitioning some of that conversation where, and again, I think I say this so very often in the world of pro wrestling, which I'm learning quickly and greatly. In my opinion, you can't be just of one mindset. You can't be just of one role. And Vince McMahon for all those years was of the mindset where everyone here is livestock. Like you're not in the business of dealing livestock. You're in the business of entertainment. And I'm obviously putting my own narrative onto this. But now we're about to talk about this. WWE, TNA, NWA, AEW, DCCW, all these acronyms for promotions, they all now have the opportunity to work alongside each other and with each other. And TNA brought their champion, their title-holding champion, over to NXT, which is owned by the WWE brand. And they had a cross-promotional get-down that kind of reset the expectations of what stories can be told. And I think as long as all parties involved are beneficial in making some money, there's a fun interview the other day with Triple H where he's being asked about the direction of the company, this, that, the other thing. And I don't know if it's actual or planted, but there's fans in the background doing like MJF chants and like getting super crazy, and these things aren't censored the way they were. These references are regularly made.
So it's for Vince McMahon, the thing was, if it's not my money that I'm making, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And right now, especially now that WWE's gone public and now they're pretty much owned because they own the majority of the stocks and shares, the TKO company. They're like, we got to figure out ways to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal on this. So there is an opportunity to make more money if with some cross promotion stuff. Jordan Grace going against Stevie Turner in NXT.
Did you watch that?
It was a great match.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. Tell me a little bit about it.
First, Stevie Turner looking good.
Yeah,
my first time seeing her in action. But Jordan Grace, good God, a force to be reckoned with. Really, really amazing. Great presence, and she got a beautiful pop.
Oh,
first off, when they announced her last week that she's going to be coming for the title, at these Roadblock, I think the next NXT PLE. When they announced her and her music hit, that pop is now one of the most legendary pops for NXT.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
It's so beautiful. It's so good. That was one of the things. If talking about the old guard, Vince McMahon, if he didn't make you, then he didn't know you.
Yeah.
So in this one, they took a big risk. First off, when they let Jordan Grace in for Royal Rumble, and like that was a great planting seeds on this, but seeing her in NXT in the arena there.
Well, and it's such a good job of the TV of creating that story too, because I was at the Royal Rumble in Florida, and when she came out, I'm going to tell you a very large percent of that crowd didn't know who she was. Like it wasn't the reaction you thought it would be. But when you go back and watch how it's packaged on television, a different story is told because yes, live events, yes, TV show. That TV show hits more viewers than those in attendance. I promise you that. And you're able to tell whatever story you want to tell from that. Bringing in, and this is an easy way in. You bring in a gal who has a former tie to WWE, you bring in all these things and you're able to tell these stories, but you have to balloon it bigger, I would think, right? Like you have to be able to cross the intersections of promotions for this thing to really pay off. When we were talking about that money earlier, this is a super cliche. If WWE has one fan and that one fan pays $1 every time they interact with WWE, WWE loves that $1. If AEW brings in, or if TNA brings in 10 new fans to AEW or to WWE, that's dollar has the same amount, except now it's times 10.
Money's green, baby.
It's every time.
Money's green.
They rather have the $10 from a new fan, from 10 new fans, than $1 from established fan, and I promise you that.
One of the things I'm really grateful for when cross promotion angles are done well is it does well for the business as a whole.
Yeah.
You're giving other people a chance to be seen in different lights and a different market than they wouldn't have possibly, because you should go out in AEW, having him cross over into American pro wrestling stuff. He's been on the American side before, but now he's on a weekly American show. Jordan Grace crossing over to NXT. Well, not necessarily crossing over, but having a match in NXT,
right?
Which is really beautiful. Gangrel making a comeback at all Double or Nothing for for AEW. He got a beautiful pop there, you know.
Well, and only, you know, even a couple months removed from Will Ospreay full time moving over to AEW, who had so much success in New Japan,
Yeah,
and obviously over in England. And there's a bunch of these examples. You know, I think the best one ever goes back to like the 90s, right? That's Ric Flair, WCW, WWF, and all that crossover. And then all those guys going Macho Man Randy Savage, you can name a whole bunch of names. And then that all kind of died for a while. You know, when WCW eventually died, it did die. And I think the only individual to really survive the death of WCW, because Sting went to TNA, the only guys to really survive, Booker T, I think, was one.
Well said.
Booker T was incredibly successful. Diamond Dallas Page was incredibly successful in WWF. And then it was harder for guys like Goldberg. It was harder for guys like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall to return. When Kevin Nash returned to WWE after the 2011 Summer of Punk, all that stuff, the crowd hated it. They weren't enthused by that live. And then you fast forward 3-4 years, 2015, and AJ Styles coming over for the first time at the Royal Rumble. That was a game changer.
You were there, right?
In 15, I was not there.
Oh man,
yeah, it would have been a cool one.
I wish I could have experienced that pop.
Don't want none.
Man, that song is just so
crazy,
good, man.
And now, if you have anything can happen anytime fantasy booking, forbidden door, open to the fan base. It's going to be better to every fan base across all marks, in my opinion.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. It gives everyone a chance to be seen, more money to be made, and more importantly, for the wrestlers themselves, it expands their market for demand.
Friend of the show, Duke City Warriors, a big fan, is a fan page for Duke City Championship Wrestling. They say, I pop if AJ returned back to TNA again. And that's a fun part too, right? Because now he can.
Yes, he can. That door goes both ways. There was a quote from one of the higher ups in WWE saying this door goes both ways. I love that. And when the invasion angle was first going on in 2001, 2002, when it first started, I was marking out. You know, I was just like, who else is coming?
Yeah.
So now we're back to that giddy feeling like anything could happen again.
Well, and for the diehard fan too, because you're so very correct here. We'll use AEW again. They send their guys down to Mexico all the time, and they wrestle AAA guys, and they do a whole bunch of stuff. So I think it hits all fan bases. Like you can get the really casual, like story loving fan like myself, to the guy who's very much a diehard, dyed in the wool. You know, as goes pro wrestling, goes my level of happiness individual, and they're all doing it. And I think it's currently better than it's ever been. Also, with that said, WWE puts out the numbers. That's the thing they're a little braggadocious on.
Yeah.
They're stretching SummerSlam to 2 days starting next year in Minneapolis. You know, it's not being done small at all.
Well, we always known that WWE had the big four.
Sure.
Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and WrestleMania.
And I would say 5 almost now if you add Money in the Bank into it.
Ooh.
And what they're doing with overseas stuff, so like a Clash at the Castles and the stuff they do with super shows in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. I mean, they all, like 8 of the 12 now have significance,
that's crazy.
It's a huge number.
So expanding SummerSlam into 2 nights with a warm crowd in the warm weather, because it's going to be a stadium. There's going to be no top on that. You know, that gives more people to see and enjoy the product. More importantly, for the business and for their business, more money back to them.
Yeah.
When you're always on the move, that's more expenditures going. So when you're able to plant for a little bit and then make more money, that's less expenses going out and more money coming in. So I'd say that's a smart move right there.
I like the idea of when you're telling stories, you're not inhibited by your self-imposed restraints. You know, if the only thing stopping you from a really good arc or a really good payoff or a really good storyline is your decision that you're against creating that's a failure to yourself. And how impassioned I am currently for the products that allow themselves to succeed with only success surrounding them. And I think WWE is that currently. I think AEW is that currently. I think DCCW is that currently. And then that cross-promotional, and, you know, on like the territories, the indies, which is, you know, what you and I work with DCCW, you know, there's this mindset where, because, and I'll use DCCW as an example, it's such a TV product, we have to have guys booked for long periods of times to tell stories, right?
Yeah.
And that booking is super important. Like we have to have it, right? Also from the live chat, put War Games in there. War Games, hey, War Games is the Survivor Series. It's 100% in there. So, but with that said, the bookings are interesting because the individuals that work for Duke City Championship Wrestling, they can work at so many other
Yeah, we're not
promotions.
exclusive.
Yeah, they go around the country,
Yeah.
you know, and with that said, you know, how fortunate we are that they prioritize Duke City Championship Wrestling for some storylines that we have established for them. But I'll give you like Charlie 50 for an example. Charlie 50 was gone for several months.
He was gone since November.
Isn't that crazy? You know,
Yeah.
and then, you know, he returns to the company and he says to me, I almost feel like the fan base forgot about me, you know, and it's, you know, that's a neat one to me because you don't feel that type of energy from guys who are just booked for a 3-show series and, you know, show up, get heat, show up, have a battle, rubber match, it's over. This is you know, there's a level of canon, you know, there's a level of canon to this that performers want to be a part of. And we'll use like Steel City for an example. Steel City runs a show in Pueblo a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, last
weekend. Yeah.
And as they're running that show, a lot of Duke City Championship Wrestling performers are going to go up there and entertain, and that's awesome. You know, but they're performers first. They're not Duke City Championship Wrestling guys. They're guys.
Yeah.
And then, you know, for Steel City to reach out and say, hey, we'd like to do an angle or an idea or do a thing. Well, hey, in return, same. You know what I mean? Like, you have a lot of talent up there. Let's bring them down. Let's do a thing and be able to identify by brands the exact same way that the guys that are doing it at the very top, WWE and TNA and all those are doing it, but doing it at the independent level. I am a fan of that kind of layered storytelling. So I'm a fan of the business right now.
Well, how awesome is it that our champ went up there with our championship belt?
So sweet.
Like, you know, that kind of helps legitimize us as a company itself. Like, I am the DCCW champ. Oh, what's that? Come check it out, baby.
Yeah,
come check it out.
Super sweet.
And Helico Risk walking around the Nightmare Factory championship.
Defended it last month.
And like everywhere she goes, everywhere she's booked, she has to put that belt on the line. That's a fighting champions championship belt, you know. So like, it's a beautiful thing. It once again, it's good. It's good for the product overall, but more important, it's good for the business, man. You know, I would love to see some Pueblo fans here. I would love to see some of our fans up there.
Yeah,
I would love to see us all meet in the middle in Taos or something. You know.
Yeah, there's a ton of possibility, ton going on. I had a conversation the other day about Red River, and the idea I was like, well, it's kind of a retirement facility, and I'm like going on the whole list. I'm like, but if we think it can be done, you know, I mean, what do we get? Worst case scenario, we fail, as long as we try.
Yeah,
you know, and the idea to put wrestling in all parts of New Mexico is awesome. And the thing that's so unique about this state is how doable that is. You know, where I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and I grew up on the east side of the Mississippi River in East St. Louis. There's Southern Illinois Pro Wrestling. There's Metro East Pro Wrestling. There's Central Illinois Pro Wrestling. Like, you can only go so far. You know, here, the entire state is our oyster. You know, and if we were to intend to go into a Texas, like, I would call Amarillo first and I would ask, you know, I would call South Plains and I would ask. If we were to go into Colorado, I would call those individuals and ask. I would call Steel City. I would call Denver. I would call Phoenix Championship Wrestling. I would call these guys to go into Arizona. And if we don't have to go in, but if we can partner with, oh my gosh,
that'd be beautiful.
Yeah, there's an oyster. There's an oyster of possibility.
That's the beauty of like the territory mindset with using new media.
Oh, I agree.
It's no longer just oh, you weren't at that show, you didn't know. Now we have social media to our advantage. We have our TV product to our advantage. More importantly, all of our professional wrestlers and the crew like have their social media that can extend the reach even more. So, and what we're doing is we're helping create a demand for the company, but also more importantly for the wrestlers themselves,
the industry.
I agree
completely.
You know, so that is a beautiful thing. I would love to get a bus. You have a few of us, and we just head out to Phoenix.
Yeah,
and we all just go at it.
Pro wrestle.
I would.
There'd be some fun.
I would drive the bus myself, even.
You know, and without, I don't know, spoiling a ton of stuff, but it's, you know, a lot of the individuals involved here, involved elsewhere, and you field calls regularly. I field calls regularly. We're going to go to St. Louis and do some stuff. You know,
hey,
there's a ton of, and that's my hometown, which super helps, obviously, with that connection. But yeah, we're gonna laugh a lot along the way. And again, the idea that the industry is forever changing with, you know, Vince McMahon stepping down, or Dixie Carter was a really good example of sabotage all the time. You know, there's a success in the idea of new blood at leadership. And I recognize that Triple H is the son-in-law of, but TKO is not he. You know, and TKO is they're a business first, and I love that it's trickled down in a way that Ronald Reagan would appreciate for the success of the industry.
Great callback.
Yeah,
It's trickle down economics.
Yeah, that's what I got. Whenever we step away, we continue our conversation about the 30 days a month that aren't pro wrestling and talk a little bit about the product at hand. You are Sally Taylor. I am Fred Slow. This is Going Over on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. I am Fred Slow, Sally Taylor. Alongside we were talking the world of pro wrestling, and we were talking the world of Duke City Championship Wrestling. Comic-Con is coming to town June 14th through 16th. That's at the Marriott Pyramid.
The Marriott Pyramid's going to be here in Albuquerque. Yeah. Duke City Comic-Con.
Oh,
this is actually the smaller show of the Albuquerque Comic-Con, but it's a beautiful show. It's a more intimate show. I like to think of it, actually. One of the coolest things about this that I'm kind of marking out on, we have a Revenge of the Nerds reunion. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah. But also we got Superman himself, Brandon Ruth, is coming. And it's a beautiful thing. But the biggest thing I talked about on the two-man on, I'm a big fan. I'm a big mark for Sean Whalen.
There's 7 nerds here from Revenge of the Nerds.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, we're going deep. We're going hard on this.
That's so funny. Also, the cat you're talking about, Superman, that's a dude from Scott Pilgrim, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
the vegan.
exactly what you're talking about.
The vegan boyfriend that accidentally had a steak.
I know you said it's the smaller of the cons. We had a presence at the last one. You and I are going to have a conversation about Duke City Championship Wrestling having a presence. But a lot of cool stuff going on at this one. It's at the Marriott Pyramid, June 14th through 16th. Check that out if you're checking out local nerd culture and entertainment.
We're all about it. We're here to celebrate each other, celebrate the things that popular culture has become and what it was and what it can become. There will also be the cosplay contest that'll be hosted on the Saturday evening, and then a kids contest on Sunday. Karaoke. Cool. If y'all want to come out and sing, and I dare you to come sing my songs. It'll be fun. Let's go. Let's work. I want to see you do this.
I am hosting panels with Scott Steiner and Jimmy Hart, famed from the world of WWE and otherwise, WCW included. Scott Steiner is a really interesting story to me in the world of pro wrestling, because when WCW was at its peak, Scott Steiner was a part of it. When TNA was at its peak, Scott Steiner was a part of it.
Yeah.
When WWE has been I would argue it's at its peak right now. But at periods when it was at its peak, Scott Steiner was a part of it. And that's not by accident. You get a guy that looks like a supervillain, you get a guy that behaves like a supervillain, and you put a bunch of individuals up against that supervillain to fight that supervillain. He was a realized Thanos in a world of Avengers. And how excellent he was at it in so many different companies for so many years.
Well, one of the things I'm grateful for you about, I run the panels at least, and the way I approach is I know that these guys are going around town, going around the world, getting asked the same questions over and over. The Steiner method. Come on, man, calm down. We're better than that. I love to figure out what it is that they want to talk about and let it become a conversation. When it's just one-on-one, you are really good. You're very affable. You're very professional, and you're a very good conversationalist.
The neat part about these panels too is often the fan bases at them are individuals that can easily have an awestruck moment, and say they're trying to communicate a question, or say they do have something funny or witty off the wall. It's hard when a microphone's in front of you.
Yeah.
As unique as the skill set you and I have to be able to sit down and express story for so long, so consistently and coherently, not do all individuals have that. I don't get public speaking fright. Like, that's not a thing. Oh my God, I recognize that other people do.
Yeah.
Here's a super insight of our friendship. I have been to your home. I've spent about 1 minute inside of your home because I have rich anxiety about being inside of people's homes.
Which is fair.
Yeah, it's a real thing in my life. But I can sit on your patio. I also struggle when other people drive. Like, I don't know if it's about control. I don't know if it's about, I don't know. In my mind, it's a thing.
Yeah.
With that said, this thing that I have, oh my God, I'm so fortunate to utilize it. I'm so fortunate to sit down with dudes and like I said, tell those stories. And with the upcoming Comic-Con at the Marriott, hopefully I can help you, fans of Scott Steiner or Jimmy Hart, get answers to the questions that you want to ask. And if that's reaching out to us beforehand, we try to do an audience interaction at these things, but it's going to go very well. It's going to be very fun.
I'm excited about that. And like you're a pro. You know what you're doing.
Trying.
You
That's
know,
it.
like another little behind the curtain thing. I recently had a panel where the guest was kind of dealing with some bad press and has had dealt with other moderators, like try to hit gotcha moments, and they did not feel comfortable.
No.
And I had to talk them into doing the panel. And I was like, how about this? I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
I'll just have it be a conversation between two friends that just met and has known each other for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of that thing, they were talking about, I want to take you on the road.
Oh, how nice.
But I was like, like I love people watching and love people learning. So I love getting out of you what it is that you want to share.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful to have that kind of a gift.
Well, I think there's a lot of people, I don't know verbiage to use here in the world of entertainment, but they feel like you're waxing poetic on individuals that want to tell stories a certain way. And I have an opinion on this. And it's, number one, we work in the world of entertainment. And what I want from that is for it to be entertaining. Mm-hmm. And if that is us, for me on my shoot job, sports, also music, pop culture, current events, like these things are all the playground of life.
Yeah.
And the people that we're interacting with are best at being entertaining when they're doing it the way they want to do it. So if you sit down and try to do ahas or gotchas, or if you try to do hard hitting, I'm not a reporter. I'm barely an opinionist. I'm just a guy who hands it off to others, and if those others don't want to play fair, those others aren't interested in what I'm handing off, don't take the ball.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like if you're trying to hand me a ball, but I'm refusing to take it, that's okay too, and I'm not the fit. Yeah. So it goes both ways. But I tell you, this is 100% true. You'll leave entertained, and you'll leave having had a lot of fun, and you'll leave 2 weeks away from Duke City Championship Wrestling at the historic El Rey Theater, June the 28th, Summer Sizzle. Going to be a banger of a program. We will laugh a lot. We encourage you to keep the final weekends of July and August open in your calendar. Yeah, as we're going to push through the entire summer. Also some big announcements to come. So that's going to be very good. I wanted to, before we wrapped up this segment, talk a little bit about what I think is the best storyline in pro wrestling right now. That's the storyline of Dominic Mysterio.
Dirty Dom.
Oh my gosh. WWE has never, ever taken an individual and handled them as perfectly as the way they've handled Dominic Mysterio.
He is I love when they say, like, they're cooking. To further reach with that analogy, you have a stove with many things working, and some things are ready at different times. Mm-hmm. But doesn't mean they're other things, if they're not being shown, doesn't mean that they're not cooking necessarily.
Right.
This last several years have been Bloodline. The Bloodline storyline is still happening, but right now the time is for Dirty Dom.
Yeah,
and
the Bloodline's back burner in right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they're still they're sizzling a little bit. There's something else getting ready to brew up, and it's going to pop. I know it's going to pop. I can't say too much.
Yeah, well, no, you're not wrong, because what'll end up happening. And I've been a fan for a long time. And it'll start at SummerSlam. You'll get a return. You'll get a debut. You get one of the two.
Yeah, and
then that's going to work up to Survivor Series, where War Games will be old Bloodline versus new Bloodline. It'll be very good.
It's going to be insane.
Yeah, and I would love for the Usos to reunite on one. I'd love for the Usos to be on opposite ones and picking the ones. I would love for that. I mean, there's so many options here. Obviously, Roman Reigns. Obviously, the Hawaii or the Fatu families that haven't debuted that could. There's just so much that's going to go on with that, and that'll steal the spotlight back.
Oh yeah,
but it's going to be the summer of Dom.
But right now, Dom is. Dom's rizzing, baby.
Yeah.
He's got the Riz. He doesn't have to do much, say much.
No.
You still get those very aggressive woos, but man, there's a beautiful thing going on. Like, and more importantly, Liv Morgan's revenge tour has taken this beautiful turn where she's zeroing in on the one that she really wants to hurt, the one that she cares about with the story. So it's a beautiful thing that she's zeroing in at Dom.
Steal Your Boyfriend is such a good storyline
in the beginning of summer.
Oh my god, dude! Snatching your boyfriend while you're away from school, snatching your boyfriend, and it's not just pro wrestling, right? It's all the best movies, all the best TV shows. Like, this is a story arc that works everywhere.
Yes.
And yeah, that's a little bit of the brilliance of pro wrestling, right? Like Liv Morgan gets hurt. Liv Morgan comes back. Revenge tour. Cool. Pretty basic storyline. Rhea Ripley. Oh, Rhea Ripley gets hurt. Okay. Well, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch retires. Maybe, maybe not. Now here we are. Her story can't just stop because the Mondays don't stop. Like, and okay, Rhea's away. How do you keep poking at Rhea while she's away? Steal her boyfriend. And you're like, you're so simple and smart and fun. That's what this is. It's so simple and smart and fun. And the 9-year-old in my life who watches it, she says, "Oh, that's dirty."
Yeah. That's the beauty of it.
She's like, "I would never."
She gets it. She's getting it.
And then you get exactly what you would get in the schoolyard with like Finn Balor, where he's like, "Brother, like bros before hoes, like brother,
exactly.
Like, get right." But we've all had that dude. We've all had that dude that lost it for a lady. That sucks,
man. Especially the one that looks like him and still pulls, man. Like, come on, what?
He's awesome.
But Dom, more. We gotta like Dominic Mysterio has been killing it, and his growth as a performer.
Yeah.
And out of the ring. You ever seen some of his shoot interviews?
He's pretty good.
Anyone that speaks ill of Rhea, he throws water at them. He walks out of the interview and he keeps the heat. He keeps the heat. Like, he'll do like talk about me anytime you want, but say anything about mommy, blah, blah, blah. And then like just goes away. That's beautiful.
There's a complexity to it because, for a lot of years under the leadership it was under, you get a good storyline and it'd have one story going on at a time. And Sami Zayn is a good example in the Bloodline. The Sami Zayn involvement, dissolve, destruction thing that, and it lasted a long time, is wildly entertaining and it worked. Now we have a bunch of really simple storylines, unlike that complex one, which was Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
And they're all involving the one character. And there's a bunch of stuff going on. There's a bunch of stuff going on with Gable and his crew. There's a bunch of stuff going on with Sami Zayn. There's a bunch going on. I mean, we can name a bunch of them. But with Dominic Mysterio, you get all these simple stories, but they're all told at once. Like cheating on your girlfriend, like pretty girl wooing you, like losing the boys, like being like all these things are such simple concepts. And I haven't seen WWE pile them onto one individual character in a long time. And I think it's just a really smart way to keep me like dialed in as I'm not a Cash fan by any means. I watch them all, but to keep me like, okay, we're doing different levels of stuff here.
No, not just that. As that's cooking, you got Chad Gable.
Oh, that's brilliant right now.
That's doing some beautiful things. So you have the girl trying to steal the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then you have the boy trying to keep it with the boys, and the boys are getting pissed off because he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Against it. You gotta say no, but he's not doing any of that. Yeah, all that going on. Then you have a bully storyline, which is a very classic story that goes over. Yeah. Or not necessarily go over, but like that can be told in any
relatable.
Any kind of media. You tell me a good bully story, you have my attention. What Chad Gable is doing right now with everyone, with those guys, they planted seeds of a turn with Otis. Getting ready to stand up a little bit, but he's still conflicted. The crowd went bananas, man. Gwen Stefani would have been proud of that, man. The crowd went bananas.
Because you end up with all these like classic TV tropes, right? So the Chad Gable one is the bully trope.
Yes.
It's also the cult trope.
Ooh.
Because you're doing the classic literature stuff, like through and through here. You're getting, we're talking about TNA coming to WWE, that stranger comes to town. We're talking about Bloodline, like that's Fall of a King. There's all these like storylines that work really, really well, like across all these different avenues. Nia Jax, for example, that's like
the Scorn Queen.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
The Battle of Mulan kind of thing, where it's like, oh, you're able to be a nobody and rise. Aladdin is that story. There's so much simplicity in the ideas and complexity in how it's being given. And I'm just,
then you got Ricochet as the underdog.
Oh, that stuff's sweet too. Yeah. And then, and again, like we're a little bit over exhausting it, but for Rey Mysterio to come back with Braun Strowman, and now you got like a buddy cop thing going on. You have all these like different dynamics of storytelling. And I'm trying to come up with a really good like fish out of water because that stuff works well.
Those are well.
Yeah, the Tozawa might be that right now because he's, not the Archer. That would be the Miz right now. Yeah,
Miz and R-Truth. Yeah,
100% because the Miz is not doing this in so long.
You got the absurd versus the straight, the guy playing a straight man, and those two play off each other really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
But then, now little juxtaposition, with WWE and AEW with what's going on over there. You have Swerve Strickland, who is proving and fighting every day to show why he is the champ. And
the world's about him,
and it is a beautiful thing. He's been doing more press lately, and I've been seeing more interviews about it, and he's doing his job really well. I'm putting the company and putting the roster over.
And again, trope, right? Like you have a lot of stories of when you need like a anti-hero, right? And that's Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland is an anti-hero who has done it dirty and has been this thing, also a scarred villain. And it's not like a physical scar in his face. It's not a presentable thing. It's a look how WWE did me.
Yeah.
That's my scar. Like that's why I'm here right now. And it's all storytelling. It's
that part.
Yeah, but keep rolling.
No, Swerve Strickland, who's out trying to who's not trying. He is. He's doing a great job continuing putting the company over, the roster over, the belt over, and proving, because there's a lot of commentary going on saying, I don't know why he's champion. He's showing you and he's talking about it. And like, you know what? I'm with it. I support this. You got Samoa Joe who's enjoying his vacation. He's earned it. Yeah.
And then the tanned hunk MJF returning.
Welcome back. Yeah. Welcome back. The Wolf of Wrestling. I'm really excited to see him. You have like the he wants to lean in more. He wants to say that he's no longer going to be the buddy kind of stuff, but he's over. He's way too over for him to do anything. And even anything heel he does, it's still going to be way too over for them to react otherwise.
And he's the big bad minority role, which is a lot of fun because traditionally that's played by African American. Traditionally that's played by individual that doesn't look like a primary part of the fan base. And here he's the big bad Jew. Here he's the toughest, strongest grizzly bear in the whole industry. And you're not going to forget where he's from. You're not going to forget that it was hard for him coming up. Yeah. You're not going to forget that the odds were stacked against him. He's going to remind you regularly. And having guys at the top card, we just named three of them, right? Swerve Strickland, African-American dude. Samoa Joe, who's some sort of Pacific Islander of some sort. Yeah. And then MJF, who's Jewish. AEW's like, we'll put anyone at the top. Like, we do not care. Like, if you are a performer and you're a guy who can do it, the fan base will love you for it. And we don't get super white meat, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, traditional that we've had forever.
Well, you also have the Bucks. Now they're no longer the Young Bucks. The Bucks, who tied in with Kazuchika Okada, like one of the greatest guys to do it, and like a just big old beautiful handsome Japanese dude, who's mixing in with these EVPs and has regular TV appearances and stuff and great matches. Mercedes Moné is the latest champ for AEW, and they're really pushing the envelope there. And I'm excited to see what more they can bring because it's good for the industry. It's good for the industry as a whole. And I'm excited to see this, what WWE is cooking and what AEW is cooking, and like the whole tribalism against each other. Like, enjoy the product, enjoy the shows, do your dream booking and play those out in your head and share with others because others have their own kind of dream booking. Like wrestling's cool again, and I'm excited to see what more can come of it. There's beauty in this in this healthy competition now because both of the top companies are thriving. Yeah. And then not to mention TNA and NWA, they're scratching up and they're coming out telling people we're here too and we're showing you why we're coming up. TNA apparently has a door open between them and WWE, and that's a beautiful thing as well. You got NWA who's going back to its roots. The Crockett Cup they just they're having. A friend of the show, but legit athletic presence. Brian Idol continue to be a presence in the show. Also being present in the documentary for
Carneyland?
The Carneyland. Yeah, the NWA. They're reminding us like this is good old fashioned. Like we'll give it to you however you need it, and they're doing it an amazing job.
I agree.
We got EC3 on top of that show too, killing it.
We had to grab a break so we can come back and wrap up the program. You are Sally Taylor. I am Fred Slow. We got like 8 minutes of this thing left. Whenever we get back, it's going over on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. I am Fred Slow. You are Sally Taylor. We are talking the world of professional wrestling, specifically as it relates to Duke City Championship Wrestling, which, if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. Also, I'm in the ownership group of Duke City Championship Wrestling, so any conversation we have about it here, if you are a supporter of it financially or otherwise, that is supporting me, your purchases of tickets go into Daddy's pockets. So there you go. From the live chat at the time of recording, so we recorded on Wednesday the 5th. It's airing 9 a.m. Treshly on Saturday the 8th. Summer Sizzle, Tell Me More, June the 28th at the historic El Rey Theater. Tickets available right now, dccwtickets.com. You can get your merchandise ahead of time at the Albuquerque Duke store, located at the intersection of Carlisle and Central. And, of course, you can catch up with all our action at watchdccw.com, where we bring you the best episodic pro wrestling I think ever made in the Southwest of this great country.
I love that you're having fun. I love that everyone else is having fun. And I love that we're continuing to grow and learn as a team, as a product, as a company. It's a beautiful thing. I'm grateful to and for this.
I almost wonder if individuals had the 1 year anniversary set somewhere, timers for themselves or reminders for each other, whatever, because the amount of attention that has come to this product over the course of the last 3 weeks has been very good.
Well,
And it's happened in a way to where individuals in the community that really are movers and shakers and contributors, they're reaching out and saying, hey, this is a shoot conversation I had. An individual skipped my event to come to your event. Tell me why your event is so good.
They come and check it out then.
And I said, yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that recommendation. Thank you for that support. And I want that energy to exist here. I want that energy in New Mexico to exist, not just around town, but, online, outreach wise. The number of performers who reached out to me, also big phase 1 show last weekend. That
Congratulations to the team, y'all.
Yeah.
Good job.
Went well. I guess there wasn't a seat available. I wasn't able to make it. You weren't available to make it. We had my big anniversary party. Did a sit down.
I don't remember much from that night.
That's okay. I mean,
I remember good things though.
It
was great and weird.
Okay. I mean,
yeah,
what you're doing here. I did an interview on Downtime in the Ring, which was a lot of fun last week. They've had a bunch of big names recently, including Manny Lemons and Black Dahlia and a whole bunch of individuals. So I went over there and talked about the world of promoing, the world of pro wrestling. I don't know if it's a thing I'm good at, but it's a thing I enjoy doing. And it's been cool to see that milestone have passed for Duke City Championship Wrestling.
That's no small feat. As we're turning into this new chapter, as we're expanding some more, and hopefully, we want to keep y'all with us. And we love interacting and we love hearing the notes from y'all, because y'all are literally our judges. We live and die by your reactions, so keep us honest.
How do you weigh those reactions? Because this is just my opinion. There's a 9-year-old in my life that, number one, is a fan of everything I do, so that's kind of a little biased.
That's pretty awesome,
right? But there are a bunch of other individuals in my life, young adults, people that aren't fans of the industry, children, that come to me and say, "Hey, I enjoy this aspect of it. It's important. This thing has value to me." And there's a bunch of guys who've been in the industry for a lot of years, and they'll say, "Hey, this part is a success. This part is a deficit. What do you think about that?" Do you weigh feedback from individuals on the product that you create in the world of pro wrestling?
So first off, feedback is positive, whether you see it as negative or positive. As long as you're getting something to give you a reason to get better, that's good.
Yeah.
Any chance, I kind of look for the opportunities for growth, because that gives us something more to look at. I don't want to hear too many more. I don't want to say it like that. If you want to say you're enjoying the product, I love hearing that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. And then I love those who are also very objective and saying "Hey, by the way, something's going on here. You guys gotta keep an eye on that." Thank you. Because I want us to continue to grow. I think I said this on the when I sat in with you on Two Men On. It hit me that the things that we're doing affects professional wrestling for New Mexico.
100%.
So like, I want us to continue to grow. I want us to continue to get better because we are under a very watchful eye. Very. So like we
Where do you think that eye is? You think that's from all spectators? You think that's from those involved? Because the only eye I think I'm overly concerned about is the state of New Mexico.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. The one that the commission that we have to keep
Yeah.
being in good standing with, then, but more importantly, we also have the fans on the day that we keep giving
Yeah.
them a good, healthy, great, entertaining product.
Well, and the commission's an interesting one because it's a commission state and there aren't as many now as there were historically.
Mhm.
This is one of them. So there's a lot of I's you have to dot and T's you have to cross to create a pro wrestling promotion, to create
Yeah.
a show. With that said, the things that they identify as doing, I recognize them as doing. Like they hey, Fred, you got to pay a fee for this. There's a cost for this. There's a fine for this. There's a whatever. And I say, okay. I said, don't let me catch you slipping though. Because once I do that, now we're in trouble. And
Yeah.
even if it fails me, because the last thing I want is my dollars that go to a government office to not go towards the services that it claims it goes towards. And at our last show, like our event coordinators and our athletic commission representatives, they were on it. They identified some things and they said no. And I said, I don't like that you're saying no, but I recognize that this is the job. What am I going to do? Like, you're not misrepresenting. You're not lying to me. You're not giving me a special treatment.
Yeah.
Definitely not giving me a harsh treatment. You're giving me the exact expectation of treatment that you should be giving to me. I have nothing I can stand on the grounds of being upset about. I wish it didn't affect me negatively.
That
It works. It's
That-
working.
that's all we ask.
I hate it. Yeah, I hate that you do the thing you're going to do. Because I prefer you didn't. I prefer you didn't collect my money. I prefer you didn't come and govern my thing. I prefer you weren't part of my thing at all. Here's the thing you are. And I'm
Yeah.
watching you as strictly as you're watching me.
Yes. So it goes both ways.
It goes both.
Yes. And as long as we're in good standing and as long as they're in good standing with us, let's just put on a show, baby.
Yeah, let's just play. Let's play pro wrestling.
Yeah. I'm with it. I'm all about it. And like continue to, I've said this like months ago, I want to help reinvigorate the culture of downtown Albuquerque.
Oh, same.
Like we have a thing on Thursdays when we do, but we're back on the weekends because it's summer. But when we get back to our regular scheduled Thursday shows, we're letting people know, hey, Thursday night downtown, the beautiful historic Gallery Theater.
Yeah,
we got you, baby.
That's the one. That's where the boys take care of you.
Exactly.
Speaking of, we took care of this episode. Thank you for being a part of it, Saleh.
Thank
Anything
you.
I missed before we let you go?
How much you love me? You say it on the air and giving me a hug and all that.
I'm good, brother.
Okay.
For Saleh Taylor, for myself, for everyone here terrestrially, I'm Fred Slow. Good job, everyone. GG.